Hey everybody, this is Eric Porter along with George Lamie and Christopher Walters, and we are doing 4Fusion Friday Song Battle. And we got a good one for you today. We got Mr. Jeff Beck, who we're going to be doing a battle between two songs from Blow by Blow and two songs from Wired. So before I get started, I'd like to introduce usually your host, George Lamie, and our guest, Christopher Walters. Chris, welcome.
Hello, Eric. Hello, George. Great to be here once again, and
Awesome.
it's an honor to be with two fine gentlemen. Really looking forward to this.
Thank you. Thanks for joining us. And Chris, I know you have your own YouTube channel, so if you'd like to throw a little promo out there, let everybody know about your channel, why don't you do that, and then we'll get rolling.
For those of you who don't know, I'm Warhawk Beyond 2040. I've had a channel now for about 11 years now, and bit of everything on there, bit of jazz fusion, movies, all that sort of stuff. Highly recommend you check it out. Click and subscribe. There's some really cool stuff there.
That's right. Always remember to click and subscribe. Don't just watch. Join.
Absolutely.
Awesome, Chris.
Definitely.
So as I said in the intro, we've got two amazing albums, even iconic covers. When I think of Jeff Beck, Blow by Blow, for some reason, always pops in my head. I always see that. So, this being the song battle, I'll bring that up for everybody. So, we have four songs. We have in the first bracket Scatterbrain from Blow by Blow versus Sophie from Wired. And we have Airblower, that one is also from Blow by Blow, against Head for Backstage Pass. So normally I'm kicking things off, but since I'm the host today, I'm going to give it to the co-host. We'll start with George Lamie on this one.
All right. Well, you've always complained that I do it. Let me say you've come up with a tough square here. I went to my media player where I'll have all the tracks rated, and I have them all rated 4 stars. So there was no shortcut to this. I had to dig in on them and separate the fours from the fours.
You do a lot of work. You don't only rate albums, you rate the songs on the albums.
Yeah, I did it. That took like years, but every time I would listen to something, I would listen along and rate it. And then now finally they're all done. Um, this one's tough because Scatterbrain is the first Jeff Beck song that I ever got into. I wasn't a instant Jeff Beck convert when I heard him. It wasn't until I heard this song, I just thought this song's something else. You got this really cool riff in nine, really cool riff. Um, and it sounds even better later when they put the strings behind it, or put the strings with it in parts of it. I guess that was George Martin's idea, produced this album. Um, Two solos, first Beck, then Max Middleton. Neither solo knocks my socks off. I wouldn't say that either one of them really contributes to why I like this track. For me, it's all about this riff and how damn cool it is. Uh, a very good tune. My favorite on Blow by Blow, I think. I would have to say that. And when I saw these four songs, my initial impression was this is going to win for me. So we go to Sophie. This is Narada Michael Walden composition. Uh, Pensive opening gives way to upbeat funk fusion type riff. Sounds like something might have been on a Stanley Clarke album of the era to me. And some of these guys played with Clarke, so that makes sense. I will say, I don't know if you guys know anything about this. It is credited that the keyboard player on this track is Max Middleton, but it lists Clav and Rhodes.
Yep.
And the soloing on this is either Mini Moog or synth pad. So I'm assuming it's Jan Hammer soloing because it also sounds like his soloing style.
Yeah.
And for me, that's a key of this track.
Yeah. That's funny, George, because I wrote great synth solo down and I did look and I saw that Hammer wasn't listed on this
Yeah.
track. And I'm like, huh. And I love Max Middleton. I think he's fantastic, but I thought the same thing.
I went and looked it up of some other copies, versions of the release, and they all have the same typo if it's a typo. But a lot of times people just repeat the credits. They don't try and update anything, so that's not that unusual. To me, that's Jan Hammer. Um, and I love Jan Hammer, so it's a big part of this track for me. Um, it's they reprise the intro after he solos, and then Hammer and Beck do trade-offs the second time through. Again, it's compelling to me. Him as a soloist and how he battles with Beck. So I really enjoyed this song. Um, you put them up against each other. I'm surprised to say I'm going to go with Sophie here. Big fan of Funk Fusion, and despite how cool I think Scatterbrain is, I just edge it for Sophie.
Okay. You want to do the second one, George, or go to Chris? We'll each do that bracket first.
Yeah,
Does that
go to
sound
Chris.
good? Okay, Chris.
Well, these were albums I hadn't heard in quite a while. So when George presented this to me, I thought, okay, this should be fun to listen to these tracks. So Scatterbrain, it's a good track, but I felt that it took a while to get to the meat and potatoes, so to speak. I mean, it's very enjoyable, but I felt like I had to wait a while before anything happened. I think really it picks up more when the strings come in towards the end, but still a great track overall and some great playing from Jeff Beck. Jeff Beck doesn't quite sound like the guy we know yet. He's still finding his feet here, but you can still hear it's him, but it's not quite the man we know yet. Sophie, absolutely love this track. Just absolutely blew me away. I kind of got Mother Hishnell vibes with this track. A lot of it is probably to do with Narada's drumming because he played with Mother Hishnell, and of course the synth playing as well. When I first heard the synth playing, I thought that's Jan Hammer, but then I went to look at the credits and they say it's Max Middleton. I thought that doesn't sound like Max Middleton. It sounds more like Jan Hammer, but we'll roll with it. If they say it's Middleton, it's Middleton, but I think it's Jan Hammer. Unbelievable keyboard playing. The guitar playing is just excellent. I love the way the guitars and the keyboards are playing in unison together. It's just fantastic. And the bass work on there is just phenomenal. So between Scatterbrain and Sophie, I'm going with Sophie. This was just a dynamite track. Absolutely loved it. It's probably one of the best tracks on Wired, in my opinion.
Awesome. So I have to say that even before uh, I started talking with George and discussing Fusion and George kind of feeding me, these are two albums I've had in my collection for years. I've always loved Jeff Beck. Um, Regardless, he's just always been great to me. Being only a year apart on these records, I guess one of the things that surprised me was the lineup changes, other than Max Middleton. I think it's Phil Chen is on Blow by Blow, Wilbur Bascom is on Wired, and then, as we mentioned, Narada Michael Walden on drums, and I think it's Richard Bailey who's on Blow by Blow, and I think Bailey plays on a couple tracks here. But I'm going to make it 3 for 3. I also put Sophie over Scatterbrain. Beautiful mellow intro. You guys have already talked about the synth solo, which is fantastic. What really gets me with this one, the band gets firing hard, and then just the trade-offs that whether it is Hammer or Middleton, as the song's kind of reaching towards its ending section, I just thought that the solo trade-offs are fantastic. I love that. And when I listen to this stuff, I'm thinking live, they must have just had a ball because I can hear these songs going from whatever 5, 6 minutes to 10, 12 minutes just between the soloing. But as George said, Scatterbrain is also, it's iconic. It's just another one of those instrumentals that, and this has been hard for me as I've kind of gone into the fusion realm, is an instrumental song sticking in your head where you know the title and you can just kind of, these are songs I think on these two albums that they just stick with you. They're well written. Uh, well played, obviously. The bands are, and I don't want to say one over the other because there's certain sections where you're like, boy, the bass is fantastic, or the bass and drums are fantastic. So everything works. Um, as far as Scatterbrain, again, jamming guitar and keys. You guys mentioned the orchestration that kind of pops up in that song. I do love the electric piano and the Rhodes that get in the mix. And then there's that little weird, almost fake ending, and then it comes back for like I think the last minute of the tune. But I'm also going with Sophie on this one. So we have a 3 votes for Sophie, and now we'll move on to Head for Backstage Pass and Airblower. So back to you, George.
This one, let's start with Airblower. It's a groovy mid-tempo tune. There is a catchy, simple melody over the top of that. Beck takes an early solo. They play the head again, and then Middleton solos. And they close by kind of dropping the tempo out and outlining the melody, but not playing it as explicitly as they had played it earlier. Um, Again, I like funk fusion, so the groove element of this appeals to me. Blow by Blow is a funky fusion album, uh, as compared to Wired is a little more typical fusion centric. So if you like the funk fusion stuff, you probably really enjoy Blow by Blow. You got Head for Backstage Pass. It's got a bass solo intro. That's kind of different. It's a Wilbur Bascom's tune, so I guess it shouldn't be too surprising that he gave himself a feature. Once he's done soloing, they go into another funky riff that Beck solos over. This is a fun track to groove to, but it's kind of underdeveloped. It's only like 2 minutes and 45 seconds. In the context of the album, it works because it's in between two longer tracks, but I don't feel that it serves itself well in a competition with a full track like Airblower. I'm going to give the slight edge to Airblower here.
Okay, Chris.
Well, Airblower for me was probably the funkiest track out of these four. And, it's not something I would normally associate Jeff Beck with, funky, but so this was quite a different territory for him and for me to hear this from Jeff Beck. But this was very enjoyable. I loved the drum work. I thought the drum work was fantastic. The guitar playing here was excellent. And yeah, there's some real dirty playing from Beck, and I really enjoyed this one. Head for Backstage Pass. It's a good track, but my issue with it is way too short. I was listening to it and, it was just starting to get like a minute and a half into it. I thought, oh, this is really good. And next thing you know, it just ends. I thought, oh, I was really hoping for a little bit more. And the bass intro at the start was different. And it's really good intro. It's really locked in with the drums. I like that. But I agree with George. It's kind of like a filler track in the middle between two longer tracks. But I still enjoyed it, but just wished it was a little bit longer. But for this one, I'm going with Airblower. I thought this was definitely the better of the two. Not taking anything away from Head for Backstage Pass. Still great, but Airblower gets the slight little nod for me.
And I will admit, after I picked the 4, sent it to George, that was my one reservation, was the shortness of the track. What I really like about it and what draws me to Head for Backstage Pass, I like the funky intro with just the bass and the drums. To me, that song, and again, the shortness is probably, I see where you guys are coming from. For some reason, that song to me, every instrument has their own space. You got the stabbing keys once the band kicks in, the bass kind of drives the main riff. Um, and then everything comes together for the lead break, where you got kind of it's almost like all the instruments have their space, and then everything comes together when the leads start. I love Jeff's playing in this, even though it's short. And I have to agree. I mean, we've got a 3 for 3. Um, it's could be more developed ending. I think it's whatever it is, like 240 or something. It just doesn't get to where I think it could go. Whereas with Airblower, again, George has mentioned the funky side here, a great driving beat. I actually like the fuzz face, I think, is what Beck is using in this. He's got that really fuzzy
Yeah,
early
I noticed
tone in that, which I enjoy the melody of this track. And again, the keyboards, the band just rocks in here. It does kind of have a slowdown, maybe around the 3.5 minute mark. And then Beck kind of gets that. He's got that subtle, distinctive touch that he uses when things kind of get mellow. And but it is a great track. So I'm going with Airblower as well. Which means we've got a nice little competition for the final song because we've got Airblower from Blow by Blow and we have Sophie from Wired. So George, pick a winner for us.
Uh, well, I'm going to go Sophie because it kind of treads the same ground, the funk fusion ground. And for me, it's more memorable. The riff, as good as the riff is for Airblower, it doesn't get me moving like Sophie does. Sophie's more up tempo. Um, just and then the tipping point of any close matchup here would be just Jan Hammer. I love Jan Hammer, his sound, his style. Uh, he's more compelling to me than anybody on Airblower. Uh, yeah, when you have instrumental music, the soloing is magnified. The importance of the soloing is magnified, and I feel it's the extra touch that puts it over the top for me. Although I do think just even on the strength of the melody and the riffing, I probably would go Sophie. I like Wired better than Blow by Blow, so I wasn't entirely surprised that I would go that way. So I'll go Sophie.
Okay, Chris.
Well, this was quite an easy one for me after listening to all four tracks. I found myself listening to Sophie the most out of these four. Very enjoyable. You know, I haven't listened to Wide in quite some time, but this was the track that I really liked the most. Airblow was good, you know, quite funky, but I like Sophie just a little bit more. The synth playing is incredible. You know, Jan Hammer is just, you know, he works so well with Jeff Beck, you know, done so much legendary stuff together. And this was just another one of those legendary moments, and it was excellent. So I'm going with Sophie, hands down.
All right, we got the hat trick then
Yeah,
with Sophie.
there
We've
you
been
go.
3 for 3 all the way around. I don't know that that's happened before.
I
Well,
love it.
I don't, there's not really much to add. We talked about the songs. They're both great tunes. Like I said, these are go-tos for me. I mean, this is stuff I played Jeff Beck quite a bit. Um, it's all great if you're talking this era for me. I have no qualms with either, but I agree. I just think Sophie just had a little something over the others that would put him up against today. So, uh, but we get to talk about Jeff Beck, so it's all good. And we have to find out somehow. We got to keep searching to see. It's got to be on Hammer, right? Even though it's not listed.
I did Google it and I had one result that said it was Jan Hammer, but it was not a terribly trustable looking page.
Nothing confirmed.
So yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know, but I find it hard to believe if they're going to credit Middleton with Clav and Rhodes, the soloing is not on Clav and Rhodes, so
no.
that's not him.
Weird that it's
Yeah,
something that wouldn't have been corrected after all these years, right? Or, but who
yeah,
knows?
you would have thought that. I mean, I did try to do my homework like George. I tried to find out on Wikipedia and various other pages, and I couldn't find a Jan Hammer credit. They just kept saying it was Max Middleton. I thought, nah, no chance. It's Jan Hammer. But what can I
Wouldn't be
It's
the
say?
first mistaken credits on an album, that's for sure.
No, definitely not.
But I will say, Eric, that was an inspired pick because of like if I just picked these songs, I don't know that I would have thrown Sophie in there, but it won easily.
and look what happens.
Yeah,
We get a
Yeah.
winner.
good picks.
Cool. Yeah, I was after I picked him, sent him out, I was a little, I don't want to say upset, but I thought, okay, maybe Blue Wind or something might have been better than Head for Backstage Pass, but you know, kind of is what it is. And I actually, like I said, there's something about the tune and the separation of those instruments. I don't know. It just, that one always gets me. And maybe it's like George said, being slotted between, you know, two of the other tracks, and that one just kind of slips in. I don't know what it is about that tune, but I've always dug
It
it.
really works in the context of the album. It just sounds like there's some songs that are 245 that sound like a completed all-around song, but this one feels like you cut off
Yeah,
either another guy soloing or another riff that comes in.
Yeah,
agreed. Agreed.
definitely.
So that's a wrap for 4Fusion Friday Song Battle. Can't Who's going to complain about Mr. Jeff Beck being in the driver's seat for this one? Not me anyway.
No,
So
definitely
Chris,
not.
thank you for
Thanks for
joining us
having
on
me.
this one. Great to have
It was
you.
great to be here.
And you know, stay tuned. Hope everybody enjoys this episode, and we will have our August 4Fusion Friday coming. George, you have any want to reveal any secrets
Yeah,
for
everyone
August?
tune in. August 1st is the air date, and it is female fronted fusion featuring Mohini Day, Senri Kawaguchi, um, Tal Wilkenfeld, and who's the last one?
Hiromi? No, it wasn't Hiromi, was it?
Hiromi Mohini. Yeah, Hiromi.
Hiromi. Okay.
Nice.
That'll be a
Yeah.
good square.
It's a good one. It's a good one for sure.
I look forward to that. That sounds good.
So I'd like to thank everybody for watching, and don't forget to check us out on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook, we are on YouTube, and we're now on Instagram all the damn time. So please like and subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you can be alerted to all the content on the channel. Check out all the links below. You got merch, membership, Ko-Fi for donations, and Cameo, where Pete can do a little birthday wish or something for you out there. So we like to thank everyone for watching, and don't forget to check out 4Fusion Friday as George said on August 1st, first Friday of every month. Don't forget it. So thank you everybody for watching. George, Chris, thank you guys, and we will see you soon on the next 4Fusion Friday.